Holy cow! Good morning. And welcome to Doppler'S Gear Garage. Holy moly! The streaming demons. Turn the guitar down just a little bit. We're not being very friendly to me this morning, but I was relentless. So thanks for hanging in there. Good morning. In case we haven't met, my name is Doug. Let me make sure I can see my comments and reactions. First of all, thank you for those of you that may or may not have been waiting around. I really appreciate it because, gosh darn it, there was just a whole bunch of stuff going on. Chris, thanks so much. Ever faithful. Much appreciated. So, there's it kind of the strange thing about streaming is everything sometimes works brilliantly, and other times, what I affectionately say, le poo-poo. So after kind of getting some routing stuff up and running, I went to all right, I'm a little late, but let's start the stream. And all of a sudden, Facebook does not want to connect. I'm like, seriously? In any case, what's going on, Philip? What's going on, my man? Look forward to seeing you a little bit later. All right, so there are a couple of things going on here. I think I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out here. First of all, one of the things that I've been really doing a lot this week, and I will be doing a lot more in the coming weeks, is really getting more serious about my practice. And so practice is something, Chris, I know I'm going to be seeing you a little bit later. Why these come in so small is a mystery to me. And same with you, Phil. Hello, hello, hello. So I'm super excited about the opportunity to what I affectionately call protect and serve. And so one of the things that I want to talk a little bit about today is kind of how you can integrate practice into what you do. And we'll be talking about that again in our private time. Adam, good morning. Great to see you. Hello, hello, hello. The conversation for the time being is going to be on practice. Jeff Fogarty, hello, my dear friend. Great to see you and welcome aboard. So the focal point for the time being is going to be on practice. Dennis, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. And I do have my mobile workstation set up here, a different type of workstation. My guitar, don't do that. My guitar workstation that's set up so I can do my setups and string changes over here. There we go. That'll be a little bit better balanced like that, but don't pull on that like that. There we go. But we are going to talk a little bit about the setup front. And this is an order of, this is how many different packs of strings my good friends at Dunlop kindly sent over. Mark, I was just reading a post about the whole tribute thing. I didn't get a chance to finish it, but as I was trying to log into Facebook, I'm like, oh, Mark's got a post up there. Larry Mitchell, the one, gotta just hit the pause button for a second. Where do I start with Larry Mitchell? First of all, hello. Second of all, brilliant guitar player. Bet everybody already knew that. Amazing tone, dare I say wizard? Because when you hear him live, you're like, how does he make all that happen from the stage through the PA, knowing that he can't really hear exactly what's coming out of the PA, but it's always brilliant. He's a brilliant human being, even better off the guitar, which is really hard to imagine. But he has done so much to help me and enabled me to do so many really cool things that I am ever grateful. He is going to be appearing on the infamous Swagger album on this version of Shape of My Heart, which is the Sting song. And it's a song that's near and dear to my heart. And he is just an incredible human being, a brilliant guitar player. And did I say incredible human being and brilliant guitar player enough times? No. But ever grateful, ever thankful, and just wow. So with that said, Sean, good morning. Mark, his phrasing, everything, tone, playing, I call him, and I don't know if he likes it, Butterfingers, because he's so smooth, it's buttery and sweet. All right. So the deal is, I wanted to talk about practice because one of the things that happens is that there are awesome. There are so many ways that we can get lost if we're not careful. And so as I'm, just like you, I'm trying to navigate the busyness of life. I'm trying to navigate this thing that's always calling my name. Oh, hello, honey. She's not literally calling my name. But the point being, it's really hard. And so what's happened this particular week is I've sat down and went, I have to own my technique to the best of my capacity. So I want to talk about arguably the most important thing you can do for your guitar playing. Your metronome. There is nothing short of playing live and opening for Larry Mitchell that will do more for your playing, your confidence, your control, your time, your sense of, is the elevator going up or is the elevator going down? And Tony, what's going on, my man? I hope to see you on Sunday. Awesome. I'm only going to be playing 2 songs, and they're both from the instrumental thing. So, what's going on, White Eye 420? As opposed to Red Eye 420? There is a Rev D Mesa Boogie for sale in Australia that's number 420. I was like, somebody's going to make that connection somewhere. In any case, one of the things that I've really made a point of doing this week is getting very missional about how I practice. So I want to encourage you to make a list, make a piece of paper that you keep somewhere close by of all the things that are important for you to have underneath your fingertips, and then put together some very loose form, but you go through it with the metronome. 80 BPM is a great place to start, and this is one of the important things. I cannot stress the difference between not having enough caffeine. Good morning. I cannot stress the difference about free range practice, which is actually valuable. No metronome, no time going, versus actually practicing with the metronome going. There is a lot of talk about it on the internet, most importantly YouTube. And anybody that says you don't need a metronome to practice globally is going against history. We'll put it there. That does not mean that there's a lot to be learned just kind of free range practice. That's a different deal. But the metronome allows you to be able to go, is it getting better or is it getting worse? And more importantly, through what I affectionately call ramp ups, and 80 BPM is my starting place. The great thing about this particular app, what are you called? What are you called? Hang on, my home screen. It's called Metronome Beats. And the great thing about this guy is that when it's on, you can just tap it up and down in increments of 5 BPM. Not if you can't hit the button. And that is the incremental perfect dose of up and down. And then in turn, if you hit a ceiling where you're like, you know what, I went up 5 and 5 and 5, man, that top ceiling, I can't do that. You back it off 4. And generally the first time you hit a ceiling, when you bump up in 5s and you kind of hit a ceiling, back it off 4 and add 1 and add 1, you'll usually be able to pass through that initial top ceiling. And the thing about this type of practice, of practicing slowly, is the goal of fixing inherent problems. So one of the things, yeah, you heard it. So that little short little pinky and that little spot of pattern number 2 of the G minor pentatonic scale, that little sequence right there has revealed that every so often, if I don't have enough arch, I don't just get that note, I get that unwanted hammer. And it's hanging in the background. So what I'm just doing, and I'm doing it without the amp on, because I'm really wanting to know what's happening just with me and the instrument. And the other thing about that is that you can really hear those little unwanted hammer-ons without any delay and reverb, any distortion, and any of that stuff going on. It just allows you to hear you and the instrument. And it's a really holistic way to practice. And what's neat about it is it also gets you a lot more used to, rather than, one of the things about playing through an amp, that's going to influence what I'm going to do here. Because what I do here influences what happens there. That is bring the volume down. But when you're sitting here with no volume, none of that stuff is happening. But what you still hear is that or unwanted hammer-on. And it's just one of those things that the only way you fix it is to go. And you're just slowly training that pinky, going like, I need just a little bit more arch. And actually, what I'm really working on there is these guys. Right here. And right there. Which, I didn't do it. I can hear when I'm doing it. And the great thing about going slowly is you can kind of go, there. And I have to tell you, psychologically and emotionally, it doesn't always feel good, and that's okay. So that is to say, I'm giving you permission to feel bad, because it's been really brutal just kind of going, oh, gosh. And the thing about it is I remind myself that one of the great things about this whole process, what's going on, Sonny? How are you, my man? Wes, great to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Is that it's just reminding me, it's like, you know what? It's like weeds in the garden. If you let them grow on their own, boom, then this is for you and anybody else. And so first of all, it can feel degrading to kind of go, I'm playing at 80 BPM. Like that is a slow tempo. 8 notes. But what's happening at this tempo is you're building in muscle memory. And it's giving you a chance to really hear just those little things that like weeds have crept into the garden. You're like, okay, let's get you out of there. Now, there are a couple of micro principles I want to get across here. Something I call targeting and isolating. And the idea is that, for example, these groups of 4 notes here, and I know I can hear a little bit of guitar here. I got it. That note. What's neat about doing it slowly? You got enough time to go right here, and know that note right there, where if I'm not careful, when I'm playing that note, I get that unwanted hammer-on. So let's say I'm going for this note right here. And if I'm not careful, that finger's just not just arched enough, and I get that unwanted hammer-on. And the deal is I want to weed that stuff out. It's a little painful. And I sat here this morning for a good 20 minutes going, okay, 80 BPM, 85. Literally just on those top 3 strings in groups of 4 notes, because you know what? I'm serious about this. So I want to hopefully inspire you to just kind of go, you know what? There's a trouble area, and it doesn't matter how basic it might be. This is one of the most important principles I can get across to you, and I feel it with a wellspring of emotion, because I'm deathly serious about fixing some of the stuff in my own playing, and more importantly, I want to encourage you to just kind of go, okay, cool, there's hope. Because I promise you, when you practice things slowly, they get better. The other thing about having that list just like this list of all the strings that my good friends at Dunlop sent me. I can go that. And if you need to add stuff on there because you missed it, that's great. However, the idea of therapeutically going, you know what? I'm taking care of business. I'm weeding that little area up there. I'm weeding the area back there. It just gives you that confidence of like, it may not be where I need it to be, but I'm working on it. That feeling is guitar therapy on a level I cannot tell you. And some of this morning did not feel good. I'm kind of working on the arpeggios. One of the things, my dear friend Chris Alexander, good morning, Rick. And I'm going to get back to the chat in just a minute. He asked me was for a couple of weeks ago an arpeggio primer. So I'm still just kind of working all my little arpeggio things down. But one of the things in coming weeks we will go over is an arpeggio primer, just to kind of get us used to doing that. The thing about the guitar, generally speaking, if you were looking for like, what are some of the different things that I might want to be practicing and how to slice and dice this, because probably arguably one of the things that I am best at as a teacher is being able to go, okay, you know, here's the whole elephant. Let's slice it up into bite-sized pieces. The challenge is that we're still trying to eat an elephant, which can be a little consuming, if you will. So the deal is that one of the places that people have a problem is being able to connect the dots of the neck linearly. And one of the things about the minor pentatonic, although many of us have a tendency to live, if there's one key more than any other, it would be A, that we kind of resolve to. But E being the second most common for me. Many of the exercises that I work on are in G because it starts here at the 3rd fret and you can easily get up to the octave there. So the idea of being able to take the minor pentatonic, for example, and mapping out the bottom 2 strings of the minor pentatonic and being able to connect them is really important. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The intersection of what we do when we play the instrument and the intersection of what we know as we're thinking about what we're playing, or sometimes not thinking about it, is really important. Much of the time, when I am, you know, in some key like B flat, what I'm really doing is I'm aiming for my B flats. In fact, let me hit the pause button there really quickly. So if you just took the bottom 4 notes of B flat minor pentatonic, that's putting your first finger at the 6th fret on the 6th string, going 1, 4, 1, 3. And then taking that same shape and cutting it, pasting it to the 1st fret on the 5th string, and cutting and pasting that and putting it at the 11th fret on the 2nd string. You're going to get that exact same shape and the same notes because we're cutting and pasting the bottom 4 notes of the minor pentatonic from that B flat to that B flat to that B flat. So on one hand, I am thinking about one important note, B flat. So like many of us, when we start playing the minor pentatonic, we learn to kind of go, oh, what key you're in, cut and paste the shape to that. However, I'm taking that concept and just moving that around the neck. In fact, I think Philip and I talked about that in his last lesson. And it's a great way. First of all, our tendency is, you know, quite often our chords are going to be down on the 6th string. So chord, we run the scale from the bottom of the scale. However, if you're looking for like kind of intermediate soloing thing, I'm going to imitate it here. Everything kind of centers around, even if you don't start from the lowest note, it's kind of tethered to this bit of business. The idea of I'm taking the same idea, but I'm moving it around the next one. I'm getting the benefit of the different registers on the instrument, which means, and all of a sudden I've tamed a rather unsavory key like B flat. Holy cow, B flat, D flat, E flat, F, A flat. So literally everything but that F natural, is going to be a flat. So like for most guitar players, like give me another key. However, there's something like we talked a little bit last time, C sharp. By the way, you saw me do that same trick. I'm like, hey, C sharp there. So there what I'm doing. Oh, sorry, that was D. So if we think about, I'm going to jump back to G for one moment. We went from B flat to C sharp. I'm jumping back to G, because if we think about the bottom two strings of the G minor pentatonic, and that little business there from pattern number 5 to pattern number 1 is what I was employing when I was going at C sharp. So that is to say what I took from here is the same what I applied. What's cool about that, and by the way, I did apply the flat 5 there. But there I'm kind of moving down the equivalent of pattern number 5. Cut and pasted there. Now, technically, that's pattern number 4 in this. Pattern number 3. And by the way, those are not positions. First position, second position, third position. Pattern number 1, pattern number 2. Pattern number 1 played at the 9th position. Okay, now the point being is that the ability to apply what we're doing is really important. And so these two go hand in hand. There's a different type of practicing. Let's just say again, C sharp. Getting your vibe going. However, that's one of the things that's involved. Let's call that recess. And recess is an after school, really important. But when it's time to work, unless it's the metronome, you need to put that down. 15-minute increments is one of the things I'm hearing a lot of teachers who I respect deeply use. This is my little cubicle, and you turn it on like this. Oh, there we go. There we go. And if I were to kind of take this and put it on each one of these edges here, it's got a time. There we go. So this is the 15-minute edge. So now this is counting down 15 minutes. And I can have this here, and it just allows me to go, okay, for the next 15 minutes, blah, 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 and working so on and so forth. And what's great is it allows you just to be able to go, hey, let's just say I'm going to work on the bottom two strings of the minor pentatonic for that 15 minutes. All right, I'm just connecting the bottom two strings. Now I can do this in a couple of different ways. If you notice, I'm looking at you and I'm not looking at the guitar, because one of the things I wanted to do, I wanted to develop that tactile muscle memory of how far I move there, how far I move there, switching from the first finger to the second finger, back to that first finger. And that allows me to begin to do that. One of the other things I can begin to do is go, all right, well that's G, B flat, C, D, F, G. So I can go G, B flat, C, D, F, G. And so instead of that being just some random group of shapes that are interconnected, I'm actually going G, B flat, C, D, F, G, which are the starting notes for each of the 5 patterns of the minor pentatonic at G there. And it allows me to actually go, I know what those notes are now. Why does that matter? Because if I go, that is a G minor bar chord, slightly out of tune, but the point being is the notes of that chord are G, B flat, and D. So when I'm at this chord, resolving to the G, or that B flat, or that D, my brain goes, got it, G, B flat, and D. But something else is important that's happening. That's also 1, flat flat 3, and the 5. So your ear begins to, once you can identify, hey, that's the 1, flat 3, and the 5, that'd say this scale is 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. So if we can hear the 1, flat 3, 5 out of 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, 1, flat 3, 5. Our ear begins to recognize, because we've identified, oh, I'm aiming for the 1, flat 3, or the 5 over the tonic chord. The other thing that's super, super important if I'm in the bottom 2 strings, and again, this comes down to mindful practicing, that's going to be the 1, flat 3, 4, and 5. The next 2 strings, that's going to be the 4, 5, flat 7, 1. This is going to be the flat 7, 1, flat 3, 4. This is going to be the flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. It's going to be the 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, which means we know there's my 1, flat 3, and 5. That's my 5 and my 1 and my flat 3, 5, 5, 1, and flat 3, which means on every pair of strings, I can identify where those triad notes are. Now, why does that matter? Well, the deal is, look closely, because this is really flipping cool, in my opinion. Well, there, I'm starting the minor pentatonic off of the 1. I'm starting off the flat 3, the 4, the 5, and the flat 7. That is literally the bottom 2 notes in this, with the exception of the fingering, is that. This is, and then that gets us to, we were at the 4, that's going to be the 5, and then a flat 7. So literally, if you know what's going on there, when you begin to start each one of those patterns, you know where you are. So I can think of this bottom shape as just 1, 4, 1, 3, like I did for decades before I kind of went, what's really driving this thing going? Okay. Well, and the great thing is literally, again, what you saw me do with C sharp before. Actually, I did it with B flat initially. Then I moved up to C sharp. Sorry. So I play the right note. And I'm just dragging that C sharp. Around the neck, but playing basically the same idea. Well, great. What about the other 4 starting places? Kind of go, okay, well, all right. So I move back a G. So I'm going to look for the B flat. All right, so I got to, that's B. There's B flat, right? Let me find another B flat. There's another B flat, which means the octave of that. Sorry. I can already tell by the sound that's the flat 3, because we learned to be able to go, all right. Which means every time I hear where that flat 3 is, I can play that shape. And that means that it's the one that's below it. If I want to mix them together, then I mix the next pattern in there, so on and so forth. So all of a sudden, we're still using the shape-based nature of the guitar, but we're going, I actually know where I am, so I know which shape to play. That is, say, I'm at the flat 3. That means that's the 1. That's the flat 7. That's the 5. And I can motor around because I know what's going on. Now, it takes a minute to get there, so it starts with going, all right, well, let me just take the shape. And then think about 1, flat 3, 4, and then G, B flat, C. And then you're kind of up and running. And what's neat about that, again, if you're looking for a starting place to just be able to go, hey, yes, I can map it there, but you can just kind of go, all right, well, all right, that was starting at the B flat. Oh. All right, well, what about the... Okay. Oh. Oh, okay. And it just allows you to then just be able to center that. So, like I said before, then instead of just using pattern number 1 and moving that around the bottom 2 strings, and then same thing with pattern number 2. Well, pattern number 3. And there, by the way, I can tell this is my octave, so that must be 1 flat 7 5 4. All right. So I'm looking for that note right there, which is going to be a C. And there's going to be another one. And now all of a sudden we're taking the same exact concept of just cutting and pasting the bottom 2 strings, but now we're doing it for each next successive pair of the pentatonic strings. And that, is just, it's how you begin to elicit the different sounds of the different types of licks that are played very frequently on string pairs, because a lot of what we do on a pentatonic is generally, but not exclusively, across 2 strings. So once you kind of begin to recognize that, you go, oh, okay, that's what's going on there. All right, let me jump down into some comments here real quick and say hello to a couple of folks here because I need to do that. Holy cow, look at all the good people that have shown up. Okay, whoa, wow, okay. Awesome. Speedwagoner, what's going on? I look forward to seeing you in Pinole. Gosh darn it, thanks so much. Really good advice. I hate playing without the amp. This is a discipline to develop. Okay, so first of all, I mean, playing with the amp is great. However, one of the things that I really love about playing acoustically is that when you play through an amp, you're hearing, let me rephrase, I'm hearing how I need to hit the strings here to get the sound that I want there. That's different than when I'm hitting the guitar acoustically. The inherent sound of this instrument and how I need to massage the strings and whatnot, and the information the guitar is giving me acoustically, which is also letting me know, okay, well, separate from the way the amp interacts and the way the guitar is driving the amp and the way the amp and the guitar are having this conversation, how does the guitar itself sound? When I'm playing quietly, medium, and loud. And how are my hands? Quiet, medium, loud. Are they behaving? And as I speed up and slow down, and what's great is the amp in some ways can be a bit of a distraction. It's also, if you're not careful, becomes Noodle City really quickly. Now that's not to say don't turn off all the effects and just play with a clean, dirty, or whatever, as well as rehearsing with the effects, or practicing rather. But the idea of sitting there with the instrument, I found, first of all, if you cohabitate in somebody who's like, you can't be playing at whatever hour it is, early, late, whatever, or during work hours for those of us that cohabitate in a situation where, somebody else in the house potentially, does the, work from home thing. So the idea of literally, and what I love is I love coming down here and just sitting right here. And this guitar is not, it's set up with 9 through 42, but this is not a classically easy instrument to play. And as I've adjusted the claw on the back and I've adjusted the action, it kind of just wants to live at a certain spot for the guitar to be itself, which means it's not as loose as I want it to feel, but it's making me play better. And so I'm having to play up to the instrument, which is always a good thing. So the point being is that sitting with the instrument, going through your list of stuff means it's just you and the guitar and the click. And there's something that's so incredibly simple about that, because I don't know about you, but in my opinion, life has seemingly gotten a lot more complicated these days. The ability to just kind of go, it's kind of, I'm not a Zen doer, but if there was the equivalent of guitar Zen, for me, it's just sitting down with the guitar and just going, it's kind of like calisthenics and stretches. I'm like, this is important to me. And it's really therapeutic. And the great thing is then when I start playing, there is if for those of us that have driven or drive a stick shift, playing and getting a vibe with an amp, that is a different part of the different things that we want to develop. That is a conversation that information I'm getting from the amp is informing what I'm going to play, and what I'm playing is informing the amp. And there's this conversation that's happening. Now, there is a similar conversation happening there, that I'm needing to respond. What's my right hand doing? What's the information that the string, and what happens when I practice quietly? Medium volume. Because when you've got an extremely distorted sound, when you're playing licks that the volume of what you're doing dynamically, that's cool. But usually when you get to the faster rate, there's usually kind of a sweet spot where the amp goes, I want you to hit me about that hard. I'm going to hit harder versus really soft. A little too soft. It just feels a little wimpy. So there's generally kind of a tempo where you kind of, or a pick dynamic. Once you get up to tempo, that feels about the right spot for most of what you're going to do when you're playing faster. So as an end result, your lane gets a little bit more narrow. Nothing wrong with that. It's just part of the reality of that for most amps and most players. So as an end result, as I'm playing at these other things, generally, I'm playing at about one pick dynamic, medium. But I'm trying to keep that right hand loose. Also, one of my weaknesses is moving across right there. All 6 strings on the way back, that note right there, that little upstroke, for whatever reason, just moving across all 6 strings on my way back, that's the one I'm like, okay, 80 BPM. Paying special attention to this note right there, 85, 90. So I'm just kind of like, okay, it's the equivalent. For those of us that floss, which should be everybody, you just get that little thing in between those teeth. You just got to get rid of it. And until you slow it down, take the time to actually get in there, it's just going to stay there and nag at you. So I'm like, okay. And the great thing about this time of like kind of like just slow it down and practice and just kind of go there. By practicing it slowly, you kind of go that. And then you're able to do what I call ramp ups. That's where, again, you know, you get your metronome going, 80, if I can hit the button, 85, 90, 95. And that's where the magic happens in terms of really taking your technique to the next level. Okay. Good morning. Great to see you, Rick. Oh, awesome. Thanks. Coffee, Colorado, happy vibes, and a Hawaiian t-shirt. Yes, I love that. Speaking of therapeutic, imagine him that Hammer-On feels. What do you tell us is the okay. Imagine how that Hammer-Ons feel when you tell it that is unwanted. Oh, got it. Imagine how Hammer-Ons feel when you tell them they're unwanted. So, you know, first of all, let's have a little conversation. I'm going to give you the finger. This poor little finger, the midget. First of all, look at the thickness of this finger. One of the other places that I'm working on is. So that finger, the amount of velocity that you can get by kind of bringing it down, bang, into the string with a hammer on, that particular part of the neck, there are a couple of things that are really important. First of all, I need to get that nail just a little bit shorter. If you have a guitar in front of you, I want you to do something that maybe you've done before. My guess is unconsciously you're aware of this, but I want to make it consciously so. What I want you to do is I actually want you to, I want you to fret the third string at the third fret. And I want you to gently tug on the string and feel the tension. Now do the same thing at the 15th fret, and notice that when the string gets shorter, the tension's greater. And now it seems kind of obvious, but then you kind of go, oh. So what that translates to, not only for the right hand, when you're up here, up, but also that spot right there, especially on this guitar, and I've got the volume down. When you got a little bit more gas, it's a little bit easier, but I'm not looking for easier, I'm looking to fix. The other thing is, by the time you move across all those strings, there's that little position shift that, unfortunately, as you're playing G major 3-note per string, you move from that B up to that D. Sorry, that B up to that E right there. You right at the point that you're needing to kind of just get ready to go from that 1-2-4 to that 1-3-4, that little bit. You've got a little position shift as we're wanting to have a little bit more time to set up, and that note right there is the quiet one. So we do what I like to affectionately call targeting and isolating. That's to say, we're going to focus on the third string and the second string. I'm giving myself about 3 months before I think I'm going to get that to about the same volume of the other fingers, and that's a matter of just working that area. And the reason I had you kind of fret that note at the 3rd fret and fret that note at the 15th fret is it allows you to understand what I can do easily there is much harder there. Same velocity. So, now one of the things about climbing the neck like that, great exercise by the way, you kind of begin to feel incrementally how much more you need to start driving that pinky by the time you move up the neck. In fact, I'm going to be working on that. So right about there, I can feel, oh, a little bit more with the pinky there. So now, a little bit better. So the idea is you begin to take the target and isolate, whether it's just on an individual string, on a pair of strings, and just kind of go, okay, this little piece of nonsense has got to get fixed. So now, normally I wouldn't necessarily, I'd probably go, well, actually what I would do is I know exactly what I would do. I would go to 80, and I go, eighth note triplets, and it's going to be a little painful, but you asked. Notice the volume of that third note. That's hitting it. So that process, and a bunch of you kind of like, why is he playing up the B string like that? Because one of the things that I really want to be mindful doing is like, this is what you do to fix this stuff. All right. And yes, those poor unwanted hammer-ons that get left out, their feelings are very hurt. But I got to tell you, it's nice to get rid of that stuff. Steve, I was thinking about you just this week, and I was missing you dropping in on the stream. Hello, if you're still here. All right, Chris Alexander, speaking of practice, when you practice chords, do you clean your tone up? Because some chords can get muddy with distortion. Okay. There's a larger conversation about chords, but it's a great question, first of all. I'll drink to that. So, one of the first things, if not the first thing that I do every day, is what I call the triad chord pitch axis. And it's playing the triad chords. And again, I'm doing it acoustically, playing the triad chords for the key of G major and G Dorian. And G Phrygian. And I'm doing it with an even tempo. This morning, I don't know if I turned the metronome on initially, but when I came back to it, I did. But what I was doing was running through the triads for G major, which is going to be G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, and G major. Then G Dorian was going to be G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor, E diminished, F major, and G minor. G minor, F major, E diminished, D minor, C major, B flat major, A minor, G minor, so on and so forth. The funny thing is, as I've been running that exercise, I've just been thinking about 2, 3, 4. Let's say 2, hold the 3, 2, hold the 3, half to 4, hold the 5, hold the 6, hold the 7, half to 1, hold the 2, 2, hold the 1, half to 7, hold the 6, hold the 5, hold the 4, half to 3, hold the 2. Which really, I'm not thinking about the note names per se as I've been running that. I've been thinking about the diatonic numbers because that's how I'm kind of connecting it for that particular exercise. But the point being is that particular relay, it's not really, and 7 chords, you don't really want to play those with a distorted tone. So for that reason, it's a great question. I've been finding that my chord work, I've also been working on the 7 chord relay, and this little chord right here, that minor 7 flat 5 there with F sharp. I mean, it's one thing to play it, but and that probably sounded like a whole bunch of nothing because of per Chris's point, not the best way to play 7 chords. But that particular spot, and this is one of the important things that I also want to stress, is something I call spillover. What I learned doing the 6-2, 7-3, 1-4, 1-4, 7-3, 6-2, that is to say E minor 7, A minor 7, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B minor 7, G major 7, C major 7. That is a really hard, very close together cluster of chords. That as you play harder chords lower down the neck, they become easier to play. But what you learn in being able to make that happen, there's what I call spillover, because something you practice here benefits other areas of the neck. And that's where the stuff that I'm doing, where I'm really kind of going, okay, Pinky, you and me, we're going to get serious about this. I know that there's going to be spillover into things that I haven't even played yet, that when I played them, I'm like, oh, that was easier because of that thing I practiced over there. That's not always apples to apples in terms of that exact thing. Like if I'm practicing chords up here, it's fairly obvious why they might translate to that. But the groups of four notes with a minor pentatonic there, getting a little bit more arch with the pinky, kind of think about how it relates to the three-note per string up here, G major at the top of the neck. Maybe not so much, but as I'm developing control with my pinky, it's all pinky work. So there is a connective tissue there, so to speak. Awesome. Braxo, what's going on, my man? Great to see you. Hello. I'm mad about something. All right, there we go. Thanks, my dear friend. And Mrs. Doppler is out for a walk. Okay. Oh, look at you. So, that show. So let's talk about how that relates to this. So one of a couple of things happen after you go and see a show of Joe and Steve and Pete. Give Pete some love. Is Pete Thorne, of course, but you knew that, who is playing third guitar with the boys. The thing is that depending on where you are in your journey and your goals, your reaction can be a couple of different things. First of all, one of the things that I said to one of my younger students, Gabriel, 15, unbelievable technique. He's one of the dream catcher kids, I call them. They literally have grown up going to John Petrucci's and Steve Vai's and Joe Satriani's guitar camps. So, when I knew he was going to go see the show, I gave him a very specific list of things to kind of pay attention to, because of the fact that he's going to be a professional guitar player. So the point being is that what Gabriel does with his days and what he, in terms of his goals, specific to what he does, for folks that are a little bit more normal, that are going to have arguably, I better be careful how I say this. I just spoke out. He's going to be a professional guitar player because he is. It's in his blood. He can't help it. They're people that they lead a little bit more normal life and a more functional one, because traveling, going out and playing all over the world, is not really great for your home life. So the point being is it's a different being. So for most people, there's tremendous value in kind of going, look, I would love to go out and play all over the world and play guitar, but you know what? I've got a home, I've got steadiness, I've got family, I've got roots, right? When you're out on the road, touring, it's not roots, it's not that. It's a different thing. But when you watch somebody like Joe and Steve, what you can take away, regardless of who you are, is with each one of them, the vibrato, watching how they employ vibrato is something that all of us can take away from them. There will be somebody out there, and I love you dearly, that your vibrato is shaky, and there are times that I want a shaky vibrato, but so vibrato would be a great place to go. Oh, all right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so or 1E and a 2E and or 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Boy, that's hard to do it that slow. But vibrato is a subdivision. It's rhythmically timed to music. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 E and a 2 E and a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1 E and a 2 E and a. So learning to kind of go, oh, that's the rhythmic subdivision that they do that I really like the most. Let me get in there and figure out how I can imitate that if you wanting to. The other thing is, for example, a guy like I probably should. Gosh, sharp 4. Spending some time with your bard. And using the bar instead of a pick. And you can, instead of what I call those dips, you don't have to dip every note. Much the same way I'll go. Same way I would use a pick there, you can use the bar. Now, legato is your thing. Again, kind of going, all right, well, single string. Or incorporating with a pick stroke. Or, and, or some sort of sequencing sort of a thing. So the idea is kind of going, there were, there's so many great things about them, not the least of which is the songs. Joe Satriani, the best-selling instrumental guitar player of all time. All time. All time. Crazy. I mean, like, of all the guitar players in the entire world, bestseller of the bunch. Holy cow. Right? Because he writes the best songs, at least in terms of popular decision, right? The point being is then kind of going, okay, well, what about the songs? Okay, there's a melody that's singable for the most part. Right? And so there's that piece that we've talked about, the stupid analogy I've got. The horse, the saddle, and the rider. Horse. Sorry. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the horse. It's going from boom, 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 left hand to piano. So the right hand, sorry, that's the saddle. And out of those notes, those were, that's where the melody, sorry. So that's 1, 1, 3, 4, 5. Sorry. 3, 2, 1, 2, flat 3. Done. All right. My brain and my F sharp are not like F sharp and B. Right. All right, there's my 5. Right there's my 6 flat 7, and there's the 5 of that F sharp chord. So sorry, I fell off the horse. The idea, you got the horse. Boom, boom, boom. It's moving around from bass note to bass note. The chords, as in B major, E major, F sharp major, they're following that horse. The melody is coming out of those chord tones, but not playing only the chord tones, and that's the rider. And until he falls off the horse, the rider is paying attention to the bass note movement, the chord tones, and then weaving the scale that those chord tones come from around to create that melody. And that, the overarching picture, is what Joe Satriani gets when he's crafting a piece of music like that, where you're going like, the melody and the bass note movement and the right amount of tension and resolution is what's driving that. And he's just, if you look at popular vote, the best at that in the world when it comes to playing instrumental guitar music. So with that in mind, just kind of going, okay, what are his compositional tools? Is he playing a verse chorus form? Is it A, B? If you take your 4 favorite Joe Satriani songs and write out the form, are they different? Are they the same? Is there some sort of little kind of, I'm going to dumb it down. All right. Right, there we go. Took me a minute to hear what I was hearing, but the point being is some sort of thing that incorporates tapping and maybe some triads. Probably move the right hand with it, but it's kind of nice. But the point being, what sorts of things move you, and then kind of going, well, how do we bring that back over to the instrument, right? So, yeah, gosh darn it. And then there's just the part of like, I just want to go to the show and watch and listen. So there's that as well. All right, 6-string harmonies, what's going on? Urinate, very cool. They're coming to Atlantic City in a couple of weeks. Still thinking about tickets. Okay, please go. Please go. Watching Steve. So let me be clear. I will never own a Hydra. I think it's fairly safe to say of all the things that I have aspired to own and play, the Hydra is not one of them. But watching Steve Vai do that live and just kind of going, and it's, there are a number of high points watching them play those songs together. It's really, really special. And years ago, I saw John McLaughlin, Al Di Meola, and Paco de Lucia. It was the extension of the Friday night in San Francisco crowd. It was Al, Paco, one of the three, I don't remember which one it was, couldn't make it. Steve Morse played. So I guess it was Steve, or maybe Steve got attitude. I don't remember. But the point being is watching Steve Morse play something that John McLaughlin wrote was one of the high points for me, because you're like, he's playing McLaughlin, but it's with the sound of Steve Morrison. You're just like, it's just one of those special things. So hearing them play each other's music is a really special thing because they're so close in the way they approach the instrument in so many ways. Hearing the affection that they have for each other's music and the ability to embellish each other's music. Skynyrd is probably the only other instance I can think of where the guitar player is just kind of like, oh. And I love King Crimson, but with Ballou and Fripp, it was almost a matter of the fact that their differences are kind of what made them so cool together. What's great about Skynyrd is you listen to those guys playing together, and like they're kind of like they're like, I got you. The same thing with Joe and Steve. It's magical, and it's totally inspiring. I hope you can too. I think they're going to do it again. That would be my take. Oh, awesome. Yes, right, Chris. And Vi sounded great. The tones were just nuts. Circular vibrato. Yep. Crazy. All right. He is. Yeah, but if you think about it, Joe also seems to get around the instrument pretty well. Just obviously. All right. Any thoughts on an intervallic approach, a la Tom Quayle? It seems more powerful than memorizing shapes and like, oh. You daring me to an interval street fight. I love this. Okay, so. Do me a favor, Six Ring. Are you? Do me a favor. Hop in at the. Hey, Kevin, what's going on? Do me a favor. Oh, you're still here. Then I can see that you're recent enough in here. So let's talk my love language. Okay, so I'm in the midst of attempting to get my act together. I am an immensely creative person, and the danger of being a creative person, at least I would consider myself an immensely creative person, is that I'm constantly inventing new things to do. And I was thinking back about the different things that I've done and the things that I've invested time in, and you need to see them in New York City. What's going on, Matt? Congratulations, by the way, another Matt on the recording process. Big congrats. I'm sure it's going to sound great. Great guitar player, by the way. Meet Matt King. Okay, great. All right, so here's the deal. One of the things that I've been trying to decide, am I going to do this 15-minute fundamentals course, or am I going to do a pentatonic course? And I haven't decided yet. I have reasons where, look, if you do a pentatonic course, you get anybody and everybody just wants to pick up the guitar and solo and just going to go, please help. Then with the 15-minute fundamentals, actually going like, hey, yeah, you probably want to learn the pentatonic, but you know what? You need to actually know chords and how and why they work together and scales and have this bigger piece of this. Most of the time when this is taught, and this is the big thing that I'm watching very closely, looking at what other educators in this space, in the kind of learning management system, CMS, content management system, people are doing as they're putting course material in the world. 99% of the time, they don't talk about the combination of intervals, fingerings, scale degree numbers, and note names. And that's kind of the big picture. So, the thing is that besides myself, and I'm not saying I'm the only person that's out there, I've never seen anybody go, hey, by the way, the reason the minor pentatonic is called the minor pentatonic is 3 of the 5 tones in the minor pentatonic or a minor triad. And wait for it, major pentatonic, maybe like 3 of those 5 notes make up a major triad, major chord. Oh, usually if you ask somebody, they're like, oh, it comes from the minor scale. Well, what about Dorian and Phrygian? Oh, right. The collective consciousness of the theoretical side of it is so grossly dysfunctional for guitar players because we're taught, line up the shape on the low E string. And this, mind you, that we were riffing on that earlier. So there is meat on the bone there. However, it keeps us stuck doing that same crap over and over. So, with the pentatonic, being able to think about it intervallically as minor, third, major, second, minor, third, major, second, minor, third, major, second, minor, third, allows it to go, oh, minor, third, major, second, minor, third, major, second, minor, third, major, second, minor, third. All right, minor, third, major, second, minor, third, major, second, minor, third, major, second, minor, third. So when our ear hears it, we have a descriptive way of thinking about it. Entered, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, minor seventh, octave, minor seventh, perfect fifth, perfect fourth, minor third, root. And while we're at it, let me turn off to Chris's comment about clean and dirty tone. There's also... Oh, we're on over here. Come on. There we go. Dry. The deal is inversions. Now, there are a couple of things about this, and we're gonna. The great thing that I love about these quote unquote shows is I get a chance to, without having to create course curriculum, go through some of my favorite things about the course curriculum I'm creating and getting ready to figure out which of these courses I'm going to do. By the way, I will take feedback down below. Would you rather have a pentatonic course, pentatonic, all the way up and down, in and out, or a 15-minute fundamentals, which is a 15-minute workout that allows you to kind of top off on all the important areas like triads and 7 chords and minor pentatonic and second finger root modes and 3 upper string modes and Chris Alexander arpeggios. Be curious. The pentatonic one allows me to potentially throw at a much wider net, and then people who come into that and they're like, hey, by the way, you also need to know this. It's a smarter first card to play on the table, because in building a business, you actually have to think like a businessman in the process of serving your audience. All right, that said, the deal is that one of the things I've been doing with my students is really, if you just take the G major scale, whose notes are G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C, hold the D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, half to G, which you can also think of as 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half, which you can also think of as 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1, 1 half to 7, hold a 6, hold a 5, hold a 4, half to 3, hold a 2, hold a 1, G, hold the A, hold the B, F to C, hold the D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, F to G, G, F to F sharp, hold the E, hold the D, hold the C, F to B, hold the A, hold the G. So it's all those things: major second, minor second, major second, major second, minor second, major second, major second, major second, major second, minor second, major second. So that is to say, this is a fingering of sorts. This is intervals: major second, minor second. This is note scale doing numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Note names G, A, B, C. All those things are happening at the same time. Oh boy, there's lots of comments coming in. Hang on just a second. Let me just keep my train of thought. Focus, Fox. I'm going to come back to that. All those things are true. The starting place is just the sound. And we begin to kind of go, how do we label that? Well, for me, the initial thing is to go, it's a collection of whole steps and half steps that goes 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half. That's how, when I was first taught major scale theory, they were like 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half. Great. Okay. Then we go, well, how else can we describe that? Well, if we think about a major scale, a whole step is referred to as a major second. A half step is a minor second. So rather than just going, hey, I'm collectively describing the whole entity of 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half, we can also think of, like, as we think about each one of these pieces, that's a major second. Major second. Again, everywhere there's a hole, 2 holes, those are major second. Then that half, minor second, 3 holes, as in 3 major seconds, and another half, another minor second. So that is, say, if we were describing this intervallically, major second, minor second, major second, major second, major second, minor second, which to the ear is going, hey, Not only does it go 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half, because if you think like 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half, that's just kind of like that's like a formula versus major second, minor second, major second, major second, major second, minor second. Okay, now my ear goes, oh, major second, minor second, major second, minor second, major second, minor second, major second, major second, major second. Okay. Now, we can also then be able to describe that, since the major scale is kind of the perfect scale, as 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is to say, I started with the holes and the halves. 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. 1, half to 7, hold a 6, hold a 5, hold a 4, half to 3, hold a 2, hold a 1. Took out the whole steps and half steps now. What, what's her first name, would call scaffolding. And that just gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. All right, now in this key, that would give us G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C, hold the D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, half to G, G, half to F sharp, hold the E, hold the D, hold the C, half to B, hold the A, hold the G. Get rid of the scaffolding. That gives us G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G, Lindy Day. So the point being is that now what we've done is we've kind of used the whole 2 holes and a half to kind of help construct it in a couple of different ways, then got rid of the whole steps, calling them out, and just kind of went, all right, we got just, all right, collectively 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half. We got major second, minor second, major second, major second, minor second. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and we got G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. All that is true of. However, most of the time, we're just showing some shape and go, there you go, see you next week. Oh, where's my check, right? So we don't have any of that background. Now, to your point, not only do we have adjacent intervals, as in major second, minor second, we have what I'm going to call tonic intervals, as in major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, octave. Now, a minute ago, before I tuned, I kind of briefly talked about the concept of inversions. Most of the time, when we think about inversions, more or less because of how we use them. So if I go a G major, or a G over B, or G over D, which is actually a G major in root position, first inversion, second inversion, because if the notes of a G major chord are G, B, and D, if I play the G in the bass, doesn't matter what chord shape I play of that, that's root position. If I put the G, B, and D, actually, hold on, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, G, B, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 5, G, B, D, okay. All right, so for those of you who recognize what that is, you recognize it. For the rest of you, probably think I'm nuts. The point being is we go, all right, 1, 3, 5. That makes up a major triad. Okay, 1, 3, and 5. We put the 1 in the bass, that's in root position. We put the 3 in the bass, that's in first inversion rather. The 5 in the bass, that's in second inversion. Doesn't matter what the order of the other things are. It's just like, what's the lowest note? Root position, first inversion, second inversion. Also, you can think of it as G and G over B, G over D. And we're taking the G, B, or D, and we're putting that in the bass. So whatever's in the bass can be referred to in terms of its individual note. In other words, just G, G over B, and G over D. All right. So, and as we think about another way to do inversions is like this. This is the GBD, BDG, DGB, and GBD. I'm just kind of going 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 1, 5, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5. Slowly in English, I'm just going 1, 3, 5. 3, 5, 1, 5, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 5, 1, 3, 3, 5, 1, 1, 3, 5. All right, so I'm just kind of, not only am I'm keeping them in a close voice, and that to say this one is going, all right, we're going to go even further down the intervallic rabbit trail before we go into inverted intervals. If I look at this chord, as I walk through the different inversions, if you look at the relationship between the 1 and the 3 and the 5, and the 5 and the 1, You get a major third, minor third, and perfect fourth. So this chord goes major third, minor third. This one goes minor third, perfect fourth. This one goes perfect fourth, major third. And this one goes major third, minor third. Why does that matter? Because if your ear can hear when that's being played, and it can hear when that's being played, and you can hear when that's being played, you begin to recognize, oh, that sounds like root position, that sounds like first inversion, that sounds like second inversion. Just because you kind of go. Now, there is another way of thinking about this is where I've got so now I'm looking at some wider intervals. So for on that footnote, we're going to jump back to the major scale and talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to call this 8. Normally I call that 1 because usually I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But in this instance, I'm going to call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could call it octave. I'm going to call it 8. So we got, if I go from the 1 to the 2, and the 1 to the 3, and the 1 to the 4, and the 1 to the 5, and the 1 to the 6, and the 1 to the 7, you got major third, major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, octave. Major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, octave. However, what about instead of going from the 1 to the 2, we're going from the 8 to the 2? Well, there, it's a major second. Here, it's a minor seventh. The two numbers have to add up to 9. And with the exception of the 4 and the 5, which are perfect, if one side is major, the other side is going to be minor. And if one side's minor, the other is going to be major. That is to say, go from 1 to 2, that's a major second. If I go from 8 to 2, that is a minor seventh. Collectively, that add up to the number 9. If I go from 1 to the 3, that's a major third. If I go from the 8 to the 3, that is a minor sixth. 3 and 6 adds up to 9. 1 to the 4, that is a perfect fourth. 8 to the 4, that is a perfect fifth. Those are inversions of each other. But the reason the fourths and the fifths are perfect is they don't do this major-minor split. It's a perfect fourth on the way up, perfect fifth on the way down. That is a 1, 4, perfect fourth, 8, 4, perfect fifth. 1, 5, perfect fifth, 8, 5, perfect fourth. 1, 3, major sixth, 8, 3, minor third, 6 and 3 is 9, 1, 7, major seventh, 8, 7, minor second, and 7 and 9, again, you end up with 9. So that allows you to kind of learn to go, hey, you know what? Begin to think of the scale descending, and how do we begin to think of that intervallically? Right? And because we want to have descriptive language for it. Why? Because when we hear a sound, then when our brain kind of goes, minor second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, minor sixth, minor seventh, octave. We actually have language to describe those things. When our brain has language to describe it and our ear hears it, those things come together and we go, I know what that is. I know how to play that. And this is where connecting that to those shapes anchors that stuff together. And that's where it gets really cool. And then you can begin to go, okay, well, if I were to take and I would take that basically, instead of going G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, I'm going A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, and B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp, G, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. That's just starting the G major scale off of its G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Again, we went G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And respectively, major, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, minor, local, major. Start the major scale off of its second degree. That's the Dorian mode. All right, that is, say, if I drop a harmonic anchor there, Dorian. All right, so the point being, then if I were to go, all right, well, I want... Sorry? Well, it's obviously a different scale than major, so let me play them at the same spot. Major, Dorian. All right, the third note, instead of doing a natural 3, is a flat 3. The 4, the 5, and the 6, and the 7, it's got a flat 7. So intervallically, that's major 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, major 6th, minor 7th, octave. And where this was a minor 3rd on the way down, that becomes a major 6th. Sorry, minor 3rd on the way up becomes a major 6th on the way down. And where this was a minor 7th on the way up, this is a major 2nd on the way down. It's like, oh, okay. And that now allows us to take what we stole from the major scale and apply it to these other modes and kind of go, oh, okay. And in turn, if we can go major 3rd, perfect 5th, major, minor 3rd, perfect 5th, minor, minor 3rd, perfect 5th, minor, major 3rd, perfect 5th, major, major 3rd, perfect 5th, major, minor 3rd, perfect 5th, minor, minor 3rd, diminished 5th, minor, sorry, diminished, minor 3rd, diminished 5th, diminished, major 3rd, perfect 5th, major. So we begin to hear the intervals inside these chords, and we begin to recognize the chord, not just because we know the shape, but because we know, oh. And after a while, you begin to hear the inversions there. All right, let me jump back into the comments here, because it was a bunch of stuff that kind of came through, but I was attempting to stay focused there. Okay, good. So intervallic approach. I have lots of thoughts about that, and it is something I'm deeply passionate about. The other great thing about that is you can go, nah, it's not my G. All right, if I go up to G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and I go to A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, and 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1, 1, major 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, major 6th, minor 7th, octave. Now I can do. Now I have what I call portable knowledge, which means I actually understand that was A, B, A, C, A, D, A, E, A, F sharp, A, G, A, E, A, and 1, 2, 1, flat 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, flat 7, 1, 1. There's your intervals. Thank you. As well as, sorry, those are my scale numbers. Then major 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, major 6th, minor 7th, octave, major 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, minor 6, minor 7th, octave. That was harder than I thought it was going to be. Okay. But the point being is we have language to describe what's going on there. And when we have language to describe it, it means we understand it from more than one perspective. When we understand it from more than one perspective, we're no longer stuck with like, I don't know, I just play that shape based on whatever note they told me was the root of the progression on a low E string. Two completely different things. I absolutely honor and love the idea, hey, let me find the root on the low E string and solo from there, because I can take that and use that as a hack, as we talked about earlier, to just be able to move around the neck. That for me, I'm like, that it's just one of the coolest things ever, because it allows me to do something that as a guitar player is very comfortable for me to do. Taking that shape and moving it to find the root. However, most of the time when you see that taught, the interconnection of the patterns of the pentatonic is, I find challenging to watch the way people have dumbed it down. They never talk about the scale degree numbers for the most part. They never talk about the formulas. They never talk about the intervals. And you're teaching people to connect things in a very guitar-centric way that if you have a conversation with a keyboardist, they're just going to look at you and just going to like, another one of those people. Okay. Didn't bother to actually understand the note names and the scale degree numbers so they can actually have a conversation with somebody who can actually go, hey, try playing this instead of going, instead of playing that flat 3, the one on the flat 3, you might try add the 2 in between. Or instead of going 1, 5, 1, flat 3, 5, 1, and bend from the 2 to the flat 3. If you don't know what the 2 is, you aren't going to find the bend from the 2 to the flat 3. Now, here's the thing. We're all on a learning trajectory. And what's great about this is I'm watching other teachers do stuff. I'm like, that's really cool. But generally speaking, I see time and time again, the minor pentatonic is not taught like, hey, we got a 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, which G, B, flat, C, D, F, G, which is a minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, minor 7th octave, which I don't think we did with the pentatonic yet. But the ability to hear what's happening intervallically, oh gosh, am I really going to do what I think I'm going to do? Sure. So we got, right. Okay. Well, even something as simple, minor 3rd, major 2nd, minor 3rd, major 2nd, minor 3rd, major 2nd, minor 3rd. It just allows your ear and your fingers and your brain to go, oh, okay. Minor 3rd, major 2nd, 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 major 2nd. It just allows you to invite the ear to the point where you're going, instead of just playing the tape, because what's happening is that most of the time the ear is listening, but if we don't have language to describe what the ear is hearing and to be able to go, oh, that's a minor 3rd. We just think of that's the 1st finger and the 4th finger. We're just shutting that conversation down before it ever really starts, right? Which is unfortunate. All right. I'm trying to improve a friend's playing. He keeps his right hand way too high above the strings. I'm telling him he needs to palm around and even get resting on the strings or bridge depending. But how would you explain to position your right hand or resting or being a fulcrum on guitar for control and balance? Wow. What a great question. I have a lesson that starts in 10 minutes, by the way. So I have a feeling, awesome. First of all, hello to everybody. And if I missed some questions, please come back next week. I apologize. But great to see everybody here. Yes, I do accept students, by the way. I'm glad I checked. Doug Doppler Music at Gmail, with pleasure. With pleasure. I teach on Saturdays and Sundays, in case you didn't notice. I'm madly... Francesco, what's going on, my man? Great to see you. Hello, hello. Okay, let me jump back into this question here. It's a really great question. And I've got a student that I'm really working... so the right hand... Oh, sorry. There are a couple of things. By the way, okay, we got 9 minutes. This is going to be the most important string control exercise anyone will ever show you. Did I say that? I'm prepared to defend that. So the deal is, this is something that, gosh darn it, if every guitar player knew how to do this, and this is why the right hand is so important. The deal is, what I'm doing is I'm hitting all 6 strings, 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 all 6 strings. So what I'm using is the fleshy part of the 1st finger to rest on the 5th through 1st strings there, only fretting the 5th fret on the 6th string. Another way to do this is lift the fleshy part up and don't bring it down far enough that it frets. Just so that note rings. Now we bring that 1st finger up to the same fret but on the 5th string, and now the tip of the 1st finger is touching up against the side of the 6th string, and the same concept. The other, oh, by the way, memorize the sound of the open G, B, and high E string. So you recognize, oh, if a string pokes through, which one is it? All right. So again, tip of the 1st finger is meeting the 5th string, fleshy part, is down across the treble strings. Now when we get up to the 5th string, and to your point, Michael, now the right hand needs to be able to mute the 6th string, or else we end up with... But having the right hand, and I'm literally hitting across all 6 strings. Then the same thing for the 3rd string. Now the right hand will advance such that it's muting the 6th and 5th string. Tip of the 1st finger is muting the 4th string. Fleshy part, muting the 2nd and 1st. Same concept as we move over to the 2nd string. Tip of the 1st finger touching up against the side of the 3rd string, muting the high E string. Right hand now is going to be muting the 6th, 5th, 4th. Tip of the 1st finger muting the 3rd, fretting the 2nd, muting the fleshy part of the 1st finger, muting the high E string. Then when that just scoots forward, right hand is now muting the 6, 5, 4, 3. Tip of the 1st finger is muting the 2nd string and fretting that string. So we got... Blew the last one. All right, that right there... is in every chord you play. Everything you do. The other thing is with the right hand, when I bring up this sort of stuff, and the guitar wants to do this, that's how. And that's how that just the one note you want to have ring. You get that note to ring. So instead of going, or I should say, instead of, slight difference. The point being is that's how you stay on top of all this stuff. Now, if you're working on same concept when you're there, we're still doing only that one string, only that one string. And as you move across the string, same thing is true, right? And that is the deal, is that follows you everywhere. I got 2 minutes here. So, great question, Michael. If I didn't say thank you and hello, Mac, great to see you. Nitin, what's going on, my man? I still like your trichord really going 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 1, 3, 2, 4. Oh yeah, there we go. 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5. That's the alternator. Thank you. I got to practice that. Awesome. Thank you. Pete is great. Yes, is Van Halen cover work is great. Yes, it is awesome. Pete's doing a great job. Thank you again, Kevin. I hope to see you on Sunday. Some broken down stats. Awesome. Yeah, you gotta go see that show in New York City. You just gotta go. I want a Hydra. I saw it at Damn Fuse back. I want to play it. I'm afraid to play that thing. I know that sounds like a really kind of lame thing to say, but I'm just like, I don't know how. What I don't know is how you can do that with the Hydra, right? First time in a while I've been able to watch the live stream. Everything is awesome. Great to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Even though that's coming in at like 1 point. There we go. Let's do that. Awesome. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us again. What I still recommend, the Mel Bay chord book. It's actually Joe Pass chords, and it is something that Joe gave all his students. I don't know if it's still in print. The crazy thing about that chord book is there were no chord names. So my copy of it, Joe actually went through and wrote the chord names. I was so incapable of figuring out what the chords were. It was the strangest thing ever. The chords had shapes and no names. It was very strange. But yes, time is very limited now. 15 minutes. Yes, it's such a win. I agree that the pentatonic regimen would be well received indeed. Thank you. An initial foray in a mix. Thank you. I really appreciate that a lot, my dear friend. I need to go deep with a chord book. Chords. Let's talk lessons on Sunday. If you get a minute. Then finally, things finally picked up at work, so I'm enthusiastic about getting back into the fold. If that is all, I would love to, and I can't wait to see you on Sunday. A week from tomorrow, I'm going to be playing at Antlers in Pinole. Super excited. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Yes, and yes. All right. Tough choice. Probably fundamentals. Thank you. I'm doing ear training too, but I want total freedom on the fretboard. Intervals seem like the most powerful tool to accomplish that. It's all of the above. So in the 1 minute here, as I kind of continue down the road, hold on. Let me. All right. Hang on just 1 second. Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate you. Awesome. Thank you, Six. Rick, awesome. Likewise, I'm sure. Hello, Eric. Thank you. Roger, thank you. With pleasure. Francesco, hello again. Joking aside, it's great to sing on the notes and know the pitches automatically. The ability to identify that stuff. I need some chamomile. There we go. Ignore the politics. The American dream is alive and well. I love that. Thank you. It's actually, this guitar takes a little bit of muscling, but I love that. All right. So in our no time left, but I'm going to borrow into Gabriel's hour and borrow 1 minute, which I'll pay him back at the end. It is all those things. It's a really, the reason being is they're all facets of the same thing. That is to say, if you were to build a house, you got to have a roof, you got to have a foundation, you got to have walls. Probably a good idea to have some doors and windows, and bathroom would probably be a help. The point being is they're all vehicles, and so the interval part is great. However, the shape part of it is anchoring those intervals to the shapes is really, really important. That is the as long as you don't play the wrong string. Being able to translate that interval, which is essentially what you're talking about, but being able to really own on its own the intervals separate without the guitar in hand, but then being able to go, hey, when I've got my kind of whatever shapes I'm using and whatever string sets I'm incorporating on, do I have the ability of can I find those notes? All right, I need to jet. Thanks so much. This was so much fun. Thank you. Have a great one. I'll see you on the flip side. See you next Saturday. Thanks again. Made my day. Thank you. Bye for now.